One of the videos we shared with you yesterday on the premium site was about directory submission. Now, directory submission is one of those link building tactics that isn't about creativity, it's about follow through, and it's about kind of going through the process. And directory submission can be quite effective as a way of, if you put X amount of hours in, you'll get Y amount of links out the other end. Well, there's a subset of directory submission that is well worth exploring if you've got a site that is kind of social in some way. Now, we talk about RSS directories. Now, what these are directories or websites that allow you to publish your website on theirs and link to you, provided you have an RSS feed of some shape or form. Now, most of you, I imagine, will probably have some idea of what RSS is, but if you don't, it's kind of the method blogs and podcasts and many sites use to inform users of when a new piece of content is updated. So if you use WordPress, if you use Blogger, if you produce a podcast, the chances are you will be generating an RSS feed of some shape or form. So if you are generating that RSS feed, it's worth exploring some of the directories that are out there, because if they will publish you because you contain an RSS feed, that's very good for you. It's a very simple link. Probably won't bring the most trust to your website, but like I say, it's a very predictable. I know these directories will publish websites that have RSS feeds. If you spend some time submitting them, you'll get some links out of that, which will add to your general link portfolio. So I've got 4 examples here of particular RSS feed directories that are worth considering submitting to, and then I'll share with you a list of hundreds of them that it may be worth you going off if you have some time to go and start syndicating yourself on. So first up, we've got Feedplex. Many of them appear like search engines, like most directories do, but it's very simple to add a URL to their site. It's simply an add URL there. They'll ask for your email address, they'll ask for your URL, and then they will submit you off the back of that there as well. Do be warned though, as with directory submission, many of these sites will either try and upsell you to a additional service that you have to pay for that sometimes isn't necessarily worth it. And also, like you see here, we have the flashing search engine submission there. That isn't the button that you need to press to go onto the next screen. It's just an advert that they're hoping you will then go through and do. So be aware that sometimes these websites, because they're trying to monetize themselves in some way, shape or form, will sometimes do some slightly sneaky things to try and get you to kind of part with some cash. But there we go. So that's a simple one there. It's a simple add to the URL button there, and you'd be syndicated. Here's another one called BritBlog, which was around for a while, went offline, has now come back again, where basically it's a directory of British bloggers. So if you're based in the UK, well worth submitting yourself to. And also, if you're not based in the UK, because I know many of you are all around the world, have a look to see whether there's equivalent types of website to this. Is there a directory that lists the bloggers in your country or your region or your topic? Because like with normal directory submission, the more relevant the directory is to your way of doing business, the more value that link will have. So don't just go for the generic ones here we're talking about. Try and explore whether there's some that are geographically specific to you or kind of specific to the business that you operate in. So that's BritBlog, very simple there. They also try and encourage you to put a little badge on your site, not compulsory, it doesn't have to be a reciprocal link, but from their point of view, they know if you link back to them, they're getting a bit of benefit as well. Third up, we've got Best of the Web. Now, Best of the Web is one of the, excuse the pun, but one of the best directories that are out there. And they also allow you to submit blogs as well. Theirs works slightly differently, so you have to browse through the directory and find the category that's most relevant to you. So perhaps to continue with our example of a triathlon blog, you'd then go into recreation here, and then go, okay, what's some of the areas that are down in here? Got nudism in there. Let's say there's probably a sport one maybe rather than recreation. Sports, there we go, I went into the wrong section. Sports, and then they've not got triathlon there, so you might want to then go into cycling, and then there's the cycling section there, and you just go submit blog here, and then you get the option. Best of the Web, again, have a paid for upsell where it's a kind of, if you want to be submitted and in the directory straight away, they will guarantee that if you pay a fee for it. From my experience, that does work, but whether that cost of doing that justifies just waiting a few days. Well, not a few days, a few weeks. It's up to you. Make a decision whether the instant hit is more important for you or whether it's the cost saving. If you're trying to save money, go with the free blog submit option there as well. And here's another one, rssfeeddirectory.org. And I'll share the links to all of these separate sites below. But the one that's well worth checking out is TopRank, toprankblog.com. Have this list, and I'll again include this in the show notes, that they regularly update and check. So it was last updated in December, so they check like once a month. And it has a huge list here of free and paid for directories that you may want to syndicate yourself in. Now, with all directory syndication, you don't want to rely on that as your only means of generating links to your website, because they aren't going to be that authoritative. But for many of us, volume is part of our issue, and what we're trying to compete with is a competitor who has a significant number of links more than you. If that's the case, then directory submission and RSS directory submission can be very effective. And this list of them here from Top Rank Blog is well worth exploring and spending some time on.